I look back at those days with nostalgic sighs. As I get older, the time really flies. So come, my friend, come with me, back to where our memories be. I have lived here for 77 years, and I love the place. My name is William Gabb, and I come from Cwmsarfiog, New Tredegar. Let's climb above the splendour of the streets we once knew, where most are all gone, they've only left a few. Let's search for the sights and the sounds that are there in our minds. Come with me, my friend, let's see what we can find. I was born in 1941 in the house across the road. It was a three-storey house, and it was riddled with cockroaches. There was no electricity, and we went to bed by candlelight. 5 years later, my father bought a house across the road, and I lived here then for the next 25 years. It was a nice place to live. We lived opposite Bethania Chapel, which on a Sunday was packed out morning, afternoon and night, and I attended this chapel until I was 16. We'll go back to the friendliest people you could ever meet in the old terrace houses, street after street. This is the site of the Queen's Hotel. The Queen's Hotel was built in about 1860. It was a huge hotel with 22 bedrooms up the top and a bar down the bottom. When I got married, I had my reception in the Queen Vic, and it didn't cost me a penny. With streets full of children all playing their games, and such friendly neighbours. Remember their names? There was Hynam and Einan, Clevey and Keach, just some of the names that lived in our street. I left school at 15 and started down the pit. A week later, I was in for a shock. They put me in the bond and dropped me down the shaft and frightened me to death. But then it got worse. It was a dangerous job underground. Health and safety wasn't prevalent in them days. There was a thick dust, but no masks. Terrible noises and no earmuffs. And you just had to make do with what you had. If you wanted to go to the toilet, you had to walk about 2 miles or make do wherever you was. I remember once I had an accident underground and the roof collapsed on me and I was covered up to my neck in coal. They dug me out and told me to go back in the gob to have a sandwich and a drop of water. But I had injured my leg and I wanted to go home. To get to pit bottom was 2 miles. And one of the old colliers shouted to me, "Bill, there's a shortcut if you want to go." So he directed me to this old road workings, which was about 5 foot high. And I started to walk down there, and I was walking in 6 inches of cockroaches, and I hunched my back because of the height, and they were dropping on the back of my neck. This was the straw that killed the camel's back. I went up the pit, and the following week I joined the army. Remember then the old Lower Road with Jenkins, Haywood and Price, who would stick together through thick and thin. They were all so friendly and nice. I left Cwmsarfiog station with my mother crying and my uncle Tom saying, "Aye boy, you broke your mother's heart, now they'll break yours." I was posted from York then to Germany, to the notorious Belsen-Bergen camp, where 135,000 people died. I spent 6 months there, and it was the worst 6 months of my life. Yes, my friend, we'll remember and behold the steam from the engines of old, where they pilfered the coal from the wagons to keep warm and protect from the cold. I spent 4 years in the army. I had learned a trade in the army as a bricklayer. So I went to work for a firm then who was building churches. And one particular church I remember was on top of the mountain in Pontypridd. 10 o'clock one morning, we looked down into the valley. It was full of fog, but we could hear sirens everywhere. And then it came over the radio that the tip had slipped in Aberfan. I ordered my 8 men into the van. We threw the tools in and we spent the day up there helping to rescue the people who got killed there. And that was the saddest day of my life. And it changed my opinion on religion also. I thought, if there's a God, why did he punish these small children? And I could never get over that fact. Where women would linger, fags all the light, an old man wore dye caps from morning till night. With a friend, I set up a charity organisation called the Nutriega Chairmobile Fund, which I was the chairman for 25 years. In that time, we collected enough money for 22 electric wheelchairs and gave thousands and thousands of pounds to the health centre for handicapped aids. My interests now are with the living room, which is the Christian Cafe set up on White Rose Way. We have various functions there, like poetry nights, quiz nights, and the cafe is welcoming to anyone who goes there. With shifting curtains and shadows just gone, searching for gossip that they could pass on. This bridge was actually built with money left over from a grant they had to build the resource centre. It was an idea of the committee to use surplus money and put this as a reminder of the colliery. This is the Elliott's Colliery Museum. It was built about 11 years ago with money from the Objective One Heritage Funds and the local council. It was built to the sum of £2,600,000. Welcome to Elliott's Colliery Museum, a brilliant example of Victorian engineering. The winding engine was built in 1891 and has a 2,000 horsepower. It raised men and coal for nearly a century, and after its closure in 1967, it fell into decline. I wrote a poem relating to this, and it's the following. Cruel this sight before my eyes, as cruel as sight could be. This vibrant place of industry, ignored was plain to see. Black the cloak that covered all, mixed sparse with rustic red, looking like an empty tomb, now silent, cold and dead. Frames of wood held broken glass, door unhinged fell free. Weeds weaved from the damaged roof through holes where the slate should be. Great wheel now still and silent, no more to spin and sing. Now just a place to visit, a monumental thing. Why I could never understand the people of this area voting to leave the European market is the fact that all these Welsh valleys benefited from the Objective One Fund from Europe. They injected millions of pounds into these valleys, including Nutriega, who benefited £31 million from it. The winding house was derelict, and I was approached to see whether we could do something to renovate it. Over the next 10 years, the friends and volunteers at the winding house got together, and we eventually rose £2,600,000 £600,000 to build what we've got now as a fine museum. What worries me most about this area is the fact there's nothing here. It'd have died in situ, like most of the mining areas in these valleys. There's only one person working here now, and it will be a shame, because the Winding House was brought back from decline, so the friends and volunteers, all their work would be in vain. So I don't want it to close, but it's looking dodgy. But emerging, my friend, is a new low road. Let's hope it will shape with the same friendly code, where people will pull together and rally the second time round in our Strawberry Valley.